Since its initial release back in 1994, Blender has evolved a lot. Throughout the years, lots of improvements have been made, giving us for free one of the best 3D software in the market. Right now we're already at the 4.3 version, and it's back with exciting new features. Despite all its potential, Blender has not always been easy to learn for beginners. Back in time, you really had to be motivated and passionate to push your way in and climb the steep learning curve. Many people have given up after the first try, and you might even be one of them. Well, let me tell you that fortunately it's not the case anymore. Blender has never been this simple to learn. I'll show you in a minute why now is probably the best time to start learning it. All of us who started learning Blender during these last 6 years are really lucky, because we are right into Blender's prime as it's getting more and more popular. Thanks to that, we have a crazy number of tutorials of all kinds about Blender for free. Now, the tutorials you need to watch will depend on what exactly you want to do with Blender. If you're doing VFX, for example, you won't necessarily have the same learning pathway as someone learning 3D modeling. What I would recommend to any beginner using Blender for the first time is to do the donut tutorial. Even if you're not into 3D modeling, Blender Guru's tutorial series is made in a way to introduce most of the workspaces and features of Blender that you'll need regardless of the use you'll make of it. You'll learn about navigation in the viewport, some useful shortcuts, materials, textures, animation, sculpting, particle systems, compositing, rendering, etc. It really is complete, and in my opinion is what jump-started my progress in Blender. At first I didn't have a good learning plan, because I was watching tutorials about anything. I got a few useful tips here and there, but nothing that would help me be confident enough to do projects alone. After I completed the shared tutorial and then the donut, I acquired enough knowledge about the modeling tools and basic navigation techniques in the viewport. From there it was easier for me to follow the tutorials about what I was really interested in at the time, character modeling. If I had not learned the basics with Blender Guru, I would have had difficulties understanding more advanced tutorials. That is why you need a proper plan, otherwise you'll get overwhelmed by the massive library of tutorials on YouTube. For example, I only started learning character animation after I was done learning how to model them. By then I was used to Blender's UI, the menus, command tools, and shortcuts. It made learning much easier and less stressful, as all I had to do was focus on the animation tools. So don't rush the process. If you don't understand something, make sure you do before you move on. There is nothing worse than trying to do projects by yourself, only to realize that you actually don't have any knowledge about what you're doing. As for anything in life, good things take time. You won't get better overnight. It took me almost a whole year to finally make a decent character all by myself. It sounds like a lot, but it went by very fast because I was so focused on improving day by day. So my advice is watch tutorials, practice a lot, and you'll improve in no time. Unlike in the past, the most recent versions of Blender are getting more and more user-friendly. There are many improvements from the interface to the add-ons that contribute to making the user experience much better. I'm sure most people don't notice this, but if you put your mouse over any parameter, you'll get a small tooltip box explaining briefly what it does, and even the shortcuts on some buttons. You can even enable developer extra or Python tooltips in the preferences if you need this extra information. During the last Blender conference, Andrew Price from the Blender Guru channel gave a very interesting talk about improving the UI. And he pointed out that adding more feedback to the interface would make the user experience much better. I totally agree with that. For example, if I had not told you, you would not know that the faces of this cube were flipped, and that it will cause shading issues later. Right now, the only way you can know is by enabling face orientation in the overlays. The only problem is that beginners don't always notice, and will probably have a hard time fixing their shading issues. What Andrew suggested was to highlight the concerned faces in the bright color and show a little message to the users to let them know that the faces are flipped, and same with the transforms not being applied. I invite you to check that video, it was really interesting, and I hope we'll see his suggestions implemented for the future versions of Blender. In 1958, most people used to drive cars without being tied to their seats. It's only in 1959 that 3-point seat belts were introduced by Volvo. They became mandatory about a decade later. We all agree that cars can drive without seat belts, but having them reduces your risk of injury if you get into an accident. Same thing with Blender and its add-ons. Well, not quite the same, but you can use it without them, but some add-ons are just so useful you're better off enabling them. Blender has a wide range of add-ons thanks to the community, and almost everything you use Blender for has an add-on. For example, last year I discovered there was an add-on for 3D printing, and you can find many more at blenderextensions.com, which you can also access directly in the preferences menu. Among the ones I use the most, you have Rigify, which is amazing for making character rigs for those who are not big fans of rigging, Car, which makes rigging cars way too easy, Loop tools that facilitate some tricky modeling operations, Grease pencil tools, Not Wrangle, etc., and there are many more. So don't be shy, use as many as you need, and if you don't find any, maybe you can make it yourself. Blender has a powerful Python API that allows you to make plugins. For example, for my Grease pencil projects, I have a routine that I got tired of repeating every time, so I made an add-on to automate it. And now with a single click on this button, everything is organized the way I want it. You can find all the information you need about scripting in the documentation, which is our next point. Blender's documentation is really well made, but unfortunately we don't make enough use of it. I started consulting it way after I started learning Blender, and to my surprise, everything I learned the hard way was already written there. All I had to do was read. And I also noticed that many tutorials I watched sounded like they came right out of the user manual. It literally has everything in it, and I know we sometimes can feel lazy or scared to open it, but trust me, it's really helpful. So don't hesitate to check it out when you have questions about something and you don't find a tutorial for it. Blender has one of the best communities on the internet. You can find many different profiles with different skills, all ready to help you when you need it. Tool tutorials, courses, forums, or even DMs. Yeah, I remember when I was learning 3D animation, I was following a course of Dedongo, and on the Abbey character rig, I saw a control for the mouse shapes I had never seen before. So I went on Twitter and sent a message to the guy that made the rig. I asked him how he did it, and I was not even expecting an answer. A few hours went by, and to my surprise, he nicely answered. And that technique is what I use to make this Super Saiyan controller, for example. So don't hesitate to contact people on social media, they're always willing to help. Just make sure you formulate your questions clearly, because people will have difficulties helping you if you can't properly describe your problem. And that is very important for the next point I'm going to talk about, which is Chat GPT. As a programmer, I use Chat GPT a lot to help me solve problems and produce code much faster. It's a very powerful tool, so I'd rather have it as an ally. And I think it's more efficient than a Google search. But as a 3D artist, I never thought about using Chat GPT because I thought it was not good enough with Blender. Well, believe it or not, but this geometry node setup you're seeing was entirely made thanks to Chat GPT instructions. I first asked it to help me make a basic node setup because I was a noob with geometry nodes. Then I asked for more advanced setups, and it gave me all the steps. I was just following it and asking questions when facing problems. It can even show you a scheme of the node setup. It was like an interactive tutorial. The key is to clearly formulate your request, and you should have a good result. That doesn't mean that you should replace human-made tutorials altogether. For example, for this node setup, which is a little more complex, I had difficulties when I tried to make it with ChatGPT, so I watched a tutorial for it. The bottom line is, it's a great tool that can help you when you can't find any other human resources for the problem you're facing. It's powerful and can help you solve many common issues, but don't replace human-made tutorials altogether, as you'll find out soon enough that it can be really dumb when you need it most. Just use it as a last resort. I kept the best for the end, Crisp Pencil, which has been rewritten in the 4.3 version to allow more features in the future updates. In this version, we now have folders to manage layers, the logic behind brushes has been improved, allowing new erasers, but visually it still looks the same as in the previous version. Personally, the hero movie made to promote Crisp Pencil back in 2018 is what made me download Blender in the first place. Being able to draw in 3D space was something I had never thought of, and it still amazes me to this day. I'm happy to see Crisp Pencil is getting more and more recognition, and we're seeing more cool projects made with it. I believe it has a lot of potential, and I already made a video about it exploring how it could be used in the anime industry in the future. But now, with the compatibility with Geometry Node, it opens even more possibilities, and I'm sure we're going to see some crazy projects in the following months. As the functionality of most Crisp Pencil tools remain unchanged in the new update, you can still make drawings and animation the same way you used to in the 4.2 version, except some changes as the time offset modifiers, for example. I'll make a video about it in the future, but for now, you can already learn all the basics of Crisp Pencil in this video, where I show you everything you need to know to get started with Crisp Pencil as a beginner. To conclude, Blender is on a good path to become the best 3D software in the industry, even if some people still claim it's not the industry standard. Developers are working very hard to improve it with new features and make it more user-friendly. So if you were hesitant about getting started, I hope that this video will convince you that now is the best time to start. Also, don't hesitate to donate to Blender to support all the hard work put into the software. We want it to keep being free and get more exciting features, so if you've gotten any value from Blender, consider supporting the project, because as you can see on the website, less than 3.1% of Blender users make donations. This software is awesome and changes life, so let's show our gratitude and give back. This is the end of this video. Thanks to all of you who subscribed to the channel. This year has been quite long and was probably my most productive year so far. I hope we can grow even bigger together in the next year with more exciting projects. And if you've already done everything right and watched all beginner tutorials but still can't work on projects by yourself, I know what you're probably doing wrong. Check out this video here where I address it. Thanks again for watching and see you next time.